It's just extraordinary to have you here. It's wonderful to have you on the We the Women platform. And before I call Rajiv in, I'm going to take the liberty of asking you one or two questions.
Yes, sure.
We can sit. Thank you. You know, today we see women being much more vocal, fighting battles openly. But the battles that women of your generation had to fight perhaps never even got told. उस समय कोई सुनने वाला भी नहीं था और शायद कोई बोलने वाला भी नहीं था.
सुनने वाले तो शायद थे मगर बोलने वाले कोई नहीं थे क्योंकि उस वक्त घर का सपोर्ट भी नहीं मिलता था. अगर लड़की ने शिकायत की तो दे वुड से नो बेटा इज़्ज़त का सवाल है, चुप हो जाओ, जो हुआ सो हुआ, बदनसीबी है, चुप करके बैठ जाओ. तो इसलिए और मैंने बहुत जगह पढ़ा है और जाना है कि बाहर वालों से ज़्यादा घर के मेल मेंबर्स भी मिसबिहेव किया है. मोस्टली फादर्स क्लोज फ्रेंड और अंकल, चाचा, ताया एंड ऑल दैट. तो वो और भी बड़ी बात हो जाती थी. इसलिए उस वक्त होता ज़रूर था होगा, इंसान तो इंसान ही है बट nobody reported it, unfortunately.
Waheeda ji, what were your challenges at that time? It couldn't have been easy for you also to, you know, you were iconic, you remain iconic, but there would have been problems. मुश्किल होती होगी, एक space ढूंढना, एक equality ढूंढना. Celebrate, you know, successful films will bring a sort of a degree of fan following. लेकिन industry के अंदर जो चुपचाप होता था, जब आवाज़ नहीं उठती थी, what were the main challenges for you?
Actually, to be very, very honest, Barkha, I never had any problem. Why? Because in the beginning itself, I set my certain rules. कि इस वक्त के बाद आप फ़ोन नहीं करेंगे या नहीं तो अपने कॉस्ट्यूम्स का, नाम का पहले ही मैंने वो कहते हैं ना, पहली रात बिल्ली मारो, वो मैंने कर दी थी. तो इसके लिए ज़्यादातर लोग उसका पहले से संभल गए क्योंकि उनको मैं कहती थी भाई रात के 9:30 के बाद आप फ़ोन नहीं करेंगे. तो कहते जी का हम राइटर्स हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हैं, क्रिएटिव लोग हैं, सो हम डिस्कशन होते होते रात के 1-2 बज जाते हैं. मैंने कहा आप अपना डिस्कशन कीजिए मगर आई एम अर्ली राइजर, तो सुबह 7 बजे भी आप फ़ोन कर सकते हैं बट नॉट आफ्टर 9:30. बट वाई? बोले वेल मे बी बिकॉज आई कम फ्रॉम अ फैमिली जो ऑफिसर्स थे, बड़ी पंक्चुअलिटी होती थी, यू नो restrictions होते थे. Maybe that is why, I don't know. And I want to follow certain rules.
Is the industry more equal or less equal today for women?
More equal, yes.
What has changed the most?
Lots of girls are working because there was a gap of 16 years in my career when I went to Bangalore. When I came back, I saw lots of girls on the sets. I was wondering, what are they doing here? So they were in art department, art directors, and assistant directors, and editors, and everywhere. That was, I said, very good.
What about being paid as much as the men, जो आजकल बहुत बात होती है? आपके ज़माने में कैसा?
उस वक्त भी यही था. फर्क
नहीं, फर्क था?
हाँ, ज़रूर.
गुस्सा नहीं आता था?
गुस्सा ज़रूर आता था. तो कहते हम प्रोड्यूसर्स कहते थे क्या करें वहीदा जी, औरतें ज़्यादा जाती हैं पिक्चर देखने के लिए, तो दे वांट टू फॉलो द मेन नॉट द वुमेन.
How many of you think that's false and you went to see the film for Waheeda Rehman, right? Yeah. Any message to young women today before we start your conversation?
बिल्कुल डरिए मत, दिल मजबूत करके जो काम करना है अपने ड्रीम्स को पूरा कीजिए क्योंकि आप सबको मालूम है, सब पढ़े लिखे हैं, हर फील्ड में आजकल औरतें हैं. प्लेन उड़ा रहे हैं, अपना कल्पना चावला स्पेस में चली गई, लॉयर्स हैं, डॉक्टर्स हैं, इन एनी फील्ड दे आर देयर. सो ये जो कम सरस जो भी हरकतें होती हैं उससे डरिए मत, उससे अपने रूल्स बनाइए, टिके रहिए और आगे बढ़ते जाइए.
Wonderful. And now may I please welcome one of our most eminent journalists and television presenters, Rajiv Masand, to walk in through that door to have this wonderful conversation with Waheeda ji. Thank you, Rajiv.
Incredible opportunity. I'm going to ask you to sit, please. I feel like I'm just going to ask you everything that I want to ask you that one doesn't get a chance to see her so often. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm reminded of that conversation, Waheeda ji, we had a few years ago. I remember, I think it was the time when the book was coming out, the book that you'd done with Nasreen, of course. I remember you saying in the book, and I remember we talking about it, you were speaking about one of your favorite colleagues, an actor that you had made many films with whom you had a great working relationship, with whom you acted in your first Hindi film, CID, Devanand. I remember you describing him as a decent flirt.
Very true.
No one uses, no one says decent flirt anymore. Also because you said he was charming, but he made you feel very secure and very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Now, he was obviously one of a kind in that sense.
Yeah.
How do you view, Waheeda ji, how do you view the way that men behave with women in the workplace, and specifically on film sets, back then and now?
Back then, I must say, maybe because when I entered, I was, of course, except for CID, and I had lead roles. I think in those days they were scared to do any misbehave with the leading lady because there was a big chance that the lady could say, I'm walking out of the movie, and why? This is the reason. Or the lady will say, throw him out, you see. So that was a risky thing for them to do. So fortunately, nobody misbehaved with me. And also, as I said earlier to Barkha, I had made certain rules. Timing this and timing that. I was ready to do hard work.
Right.
I was ready to work for 24 hours also. But this much and no more, kind of. So, you also have to make your own rules for your own safety or whatever it is.
In the book, there is that incident where you had an, should we say, argument with Raj Khosla Saab, your director of Solva Saal. It's an interesting, and I think the reason I want to bring that up and the reason I want to talk about it is because it's an instance where you stood your ground. You had very valid reasons. You stood your ground. This is an incident. Do you want to recount it? I think you should recount it.
I've said about this so many times. Anyway, if you want me to repeat it, I will repeat it. What happened, the title of the movie was 16 साल और ये लड़की 16 साल की is fallen in love with somebody and she runs away from the house. So, and when the boy leaves her, takes her money and jewelry and runs away, she tries to commit suicide, and Dev comes as a hero usually and saves me. And then we go to Dhobi Ghat to change because we are all wet. He's jumped into the river, whatever, and I am wet, so we change for time being, So एक छोटे से कमरे में एक पर्दा लगा के he is changing that side and I am changing this side. तो वो जो change over होता है, तो there was a blouse, like other kind of thing. So I said, I'm not going to wear this. तो Raji said, because meanwhile जब आपके कपड़े सूख जाते हैं तो ये आपको पड़ेगा. मैंने कहा ऐसे कुछ नहीं है कि पहनना पड़ेगा. और जो धोबी घाट आपने दिखाया वो तो वहाँ इतना मॉडर्न ब्लाउज तो हो नहीं सकता कि बैकलेस है, स्लीवलेस है, नेकलेस है. मैंने कहा व्हाट नॉनसेंस इज दिस. तो उन्होंने कहा वहीदा तुम्हारी ये दूसरी पिक्चर है बाहर, दूसरी या तीसरी, CID प्यासा दिन 16 और आप अभी से आर्ग्यू करती हैं डायरेक्टर के साथ और लॉजिक मुझे समझा रही हैं आप. मैंने कहा मैं गुस्ताखी की माफ़ी चाहती हूँ मगर आप मुझे समझाइए. और नाम है आप, अच्छा. फिर देवानंद पूछते मुझे आपका नाम क्या है. मैं कहती हूँ क्या समथिंग शर्मीली समथिंग लाइक दैट, कुछ नाम था मैं भूल. तो मैं कहती नाम ये है और वो देव कहते हैं तभी तो आप इतना शर्माती हैं, इतनी सहमी हुई हैं. तो वो लड़की ऐसे कपड़े पहन के क्यों बैठेगी, इवन दो इट इज़ फॉर एन आवर और टू, जब तक अपने कपड़े नहीं सूखे. तो दिस वॉज गोइंग ऑन एंड ऑन. देन ही स्टार्टेड लूजिंग हिज कूल कि यू नो समथिंग, यू आर ए न्यू गर्ल, तुम ऐसे बहस करोगी डायरेक्टरों के साथ तुम्हें कोई लेगा नहीं. मगर मेरी एक आदत थी जब मुझे 100% दिल और दिमाग में आ जाए कि ये बात सही है तो मैं अड़ जाती थी. नहीं साहब मैं नहीं पहनूँगी. तो उन्होंने कहा अच्छा ऐसे करो, अपने कमरे में जाओ, चेंज करो, सी in the mirror how you feel comfortable, then come. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to come. I said पक्की बात. बोले हाँ जी पक्की बात. So I go and change and see, no, I can't do it. I come back wearing my old blouse. तो बोले ये क्या हुआ. मैंने कहा आपने कहा if I don't feel comfortable I don't have to wear, so I'm not wearing it. And he was livid. I said, my God, तीसरी पिक्चर में लड़की डायरेक्टर के साथ बहस कर रही है. मैंने कहा देखिए माफ़ी चाहती हूँ मैं फिर से, मैं बहस नहीं कर रही हूँ, मुझे लॉजिकली दिमाग में बैठ नहीं रही है कि आप धोबी घाट चले गए, वहाँ रस्सी पे कपड़े सूख रहे हैं, कोई लॉन्ड्री नहीं है जहाँ आप हाई फंडा लॉन्ड्री नहीं है जो यू आर हैविंग दोज काइंड ऑफ क्लोथ्स. और मैंने कहा और ये देव कह रहे हैं हाँ तभी तो आपको इतनी शर्म आती है, लाजवंती, करेक्ट, लाजवंती, तो इतनी तभी आपको इतनी लाज आती है. तो वो लाजवंती ऐसे कैसे कपड़े पहन के बैठेगी उसके साथ. तो बोले, उन्होंने कहा पैकअप. तो मैं और मेरी मदर तो पैकअप है, चले गए घर. हमने पूछा जाते जाते प्रोड्यूसर को, साहब कल आना है कि नहीं आना है. वी थॉट दे विल थ्रो मी आउट ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज ए डायरेक्टर, सक्सेसफुल डायरेक्टर. तो बोले हम आपको फ़ोन करेंगे, जब मैं फ़ोन करूँगा तब आप निकलिए. दिस इज़ द प्रोड्यूसर. तो देवानंद दिवेचा कैमरामैन थे और प्रोड्यूसर, वो भी उनको भी लगा कि ड्यू रेस्पेक्ट्स टू हिम कि राज जी वॉज
Wrong decision, right?
ना कि नहीं कि आप सही कह रही है लॉजिकली लड़की, तो आप ये करते. खैर एनीवे, तो हम घर चले गए. तो वी वर वेटिंग इन द मॉर्निंग वेदर द कॉल विल कम और नॉट कम. सो एनीवे एट 9 o'clock द प्रोड्यूसर्स कॉल्ड एंड सेड नहीं जी, उनको हमने बहुत समझाया, कम बैक एंड स्टार्ट द वर्क.
Showing us how it's done since the 1950s. Waheeda ji, were there other instances? Were there other times when you stood your ground because you believed in something and that was misconstrued as arrogance?
This is one of the incidences. And then, yeah, my first movie, I'm sorry, my first movie was CID. And there also I had some problem. And I wanted to have a dupatta because the blouse was just lace blouse without any lining. I said, no, I'm not going on the sets. They said, this is your first movie, you're so lucky to, working with Devanand. He's a big star. That I know that he's a big star. No, he has to go to Switzerland and we have to give this movie for censor and you have to do. I said, I am not coming on the set. वही मैंने कहा ना कि पहली बार अपने ख़यालात, अपने जो भी बात है उसको पक्का तय कर लीजिए, फिर उसको स्टिक कीजिए. तो बड़ी जद्दोजहद के बाद, क्योंकि राज खोसला was directing and गुरुदत्त was the producer, he was not in town, तो फिर फ़ोन किया गया. उस वक्त मोबाइल नहीं था, कैसे कांटेक्ट किया I don't know. तो he was called back wherever he was कि जी आपकी ये हीरोइन सेट पे नहीं आ रही है. तो what happened and this is what happened. तो गुरुदत्त जी आए तो कहने लगे भाई ऐसा कुछ, it's not cheap or vulgar. तो मैंने कहा आई एम नॉट फीलिंग कंफर्टेबल, पीरियड, आई एम नॉट फीलिंग कंफर्टेबल, दैट्स इट. तो फिर के लिए व्हाट डू वांट, मैंने कहा ब्लाउज में लाइनिंग डलवाइए. तो उन्होंने भानु अथैया को बुलाया, हु यूज्ड टू मेक द कॉस्ट्यूम्स. शी सेड उसको तो आधा दिन निकल जाएगा, तो देवानंद इज लीविंग टुनाइट और समथिंग लाइक दैट, वी हैव टू फिनिश दिस शॉर्ट्स. मैंने कहा गिव मी ए दुपट्टा देन. सो दे हैव टू गिव ए दुपट्टा टू मी. So, I don't know what they thought about
More
me.
power.
Yeah. I tell you, all of you girls, be strong. Do whatever you want to do in a right way.
Waheeda ji, I would imagine that at the time, I mean, you were probably viewed as this troublemaker. I mean, she says what she means. She insists on what she wants and she sticks by what she wants.
No, Rajiv. Whenever I had these arguments, they used to get convinced. They were convinced कि unreasonable बात नहीं कर रही है लड़की, बात तो सही है. So they were convinced. So then nobody said कि I'm a troublemaker. बोले but she has got certain rules and regulations, so you have to follow her, नहीं तो ये पता नहीं. And मैं एक धमकी देती थी सबको कि नहीं ठीक लगता, I'm going back to Chennai. धमकी start होती.
Waheeda ji, you've said, of course, that you've said many times that you actually wanted to become a doctor. You've said that when you were growing up, the exact words I think you used were, you said in those days a respectable profession for a girl was to do medicine. How do you view the woman of today and the options she has today? And do you wish that you had more options in your time?
Yeah, Maybe, but I was not in, I was, as I told you, okay, a respectable profession was to be a doctor, okay, no objections. But then I wanted to act. I wanted to learn dancing. Other than that, I didn't think I could do anything better, you know. So I was happy when and my father told me, why everybody says in those days, how did you, coming from a Muslim family and your father was a IAS, how did it happen? My father said a very beautiful thing. कोई भी काम खराब नहीं होता. How you conduct yourself, how you behave, that gives a bad name to that particular profession.
Right.
Profession is not bad. आप जमादार बनिए या आप डॉक्टर बनिए या एक्टर बनिए या जो मर्जी बनिए, मगर आप में वो बात नहीं हो तो प्रोफेशन को की बदनामी होती है.
Waheeda, you started acting in when you were a teenager, 16 or 17, I think, when you started doing Telugu films.
Yeah.
And then, of course, CID became your first film, your first Hindi film. Who were your role models at the time, Waheeda ji? Who did you look up to? Who were inspiring sort of figures for you?
As an, you mean actor?
Actresses or just people that women that you looked up to?
First of all, I like Kamala Lakshman, who's a Bharatnatyam dancer, great dancer. That is what she inspired me to become a dancer. Then, no, I don't remember. I don't remember anybody.
You know, you've spent practically a lifetime in the public eye. The two sort of characteristics that have sort of defined you, your career, your personality has been your grace and your dignity, and I think everyone here will sort of agree to that. Those really are what we associate with you. I think it's fair to say, Waheeda ji, that the world has sort of different standards for men and women. Do you feel like we've progressed as a society or regressed as a society in the way that we view women and in the way that we treat women?
No, I would say it has progressed. It has progressed because earlier they never wanted their daughters, sisters or wives to work outside the house.
True.
Now it is allowed and they are understanding. Now I feel the change has come in women. But the men are still thinking कि आप बाहर काम करो मगर फिर भी घर आके आप खाना बनाइए, झाड़ू पोछा कीजिए, बच्चों को पालिए. Because that is your first duty to be done. So now that is very slight, very slowly it is happening, but there is a change and a good change.
I would imagine, Waheeda ji, that there's no way that you could have missed what's been going on. The Me Too movement, which is, of course, gathered considerable momentum in the last several months here in India, and of course in the West last year. It's of course brought about shocking revelations in every industry, but also especially in the film industry. As a woman and as a respected senior artist who's worked so long in the movies, what has been your reaction to these revelations of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment against women, against actors, against female actors, against women working in female professionals in the business?
Well, I won't say this is only happening in the film industry.
Sure.
It is happening in every walk of life. You can see the doctor in the hospital or the lawyers, your business secretaries, anywhere, everywhere it is happening. But just because we are celebrities, anything we do, it's a big splash to be talked about and, big photographs taken, so and so, so and so, so. It's not like that. But
it's also hard to ignore that there have been, so many women have spoken about being made to feel uncomfortable, about treated.
It's very sad, very sad. Even if I know some people, I feel sad why they have to do something like this. I think the training has to come right from the childhood, from the parents. The parent has to tell the child, male, female, कि भाई this much you can do, औरत की respect करो, आपकी माँ है, आपकी बहन है, आपकी कल का दिन बीवी होगी, आप respect करेंगे तो दूसरे भी respect करेंगे. You see, the training has to start from childhood.
What has been? Have you? Back in the day, did you notice that? Did you notice? Did you notice men behaving inappropriately? Were movie sets safe were they a safe place for women, not just female actors, but also, I know at that time there were very few women actually working on a set. Mostly the women were in hair and makeup. Were there a lot of women?
That's all. That's all.
There were not a lot of...
hairstylist or costume designer.
Right.
That's all. Only two. And the hairstylist is all the time with you.
True.
And the costume designer will come and do the fitting and everything. They go away. There used to be only one woman, you know. What if it at all happened anything to her? She never told me. So I don't know anything. But on the sets, what happened was that our makeup rooms used to be terrible state.
Yes.
So there was no vanity vans like today. So we are all the time sitting on the sets and talking, exchanging stories and scenes. So according to me, my personal experience was really good, very good.
You know, the film industry, Vaijaji, it's very true what you said. The film industry actually, it's always been very informal. The manner of conduct has always been very informal. And you know, you were fortunate and that you worked at a time and that you conducted yourself and you worked with men who were well behaved, perhaps.
Yeah.
That informal way of conduct has perhaps, you know, resulted in a lot of these horror stories that we're hearing today. Were you surprised, were you shocked by a lot of the horror stories, a lot of the revelations that came out recently?
Yes, I was shocked, very shocked and very pained actually. We thought okay, they were such decent people, how is this happen, why should it happen? It's very sad. You know, it affects the family and the children, it's sad, very sad.
What needs to change so that women feel safe, not just on a movie set, but also when they're interacting with people? I mean, it's, you know, a lot of people that don't necessarily follow the film business find it odd when you hear stories of meetings happening late in the night, meetings happening in hotel rooms. That's been fairly consistent. That is how the film industry conducts itself. What is not consistent and what is not appropriate, of course, is that is taken as that men behave inappropriately in those scenarios, in those situations. What needs to change specifically?
I think they should change the location of from hotel rooms to somewhere in the offices and open places.
And though we've heard of inappropriate behavior in those places as well, in offices and homes.
Yeah. And well, everybody, the men have to behave themselves, the girls have to be very alert, and whatever happens should report it immediately. Don't take too long. No, because the society is with you, we all are with you, girls, ladies, and the parents are with you. What more you want? So you shouldn't be scared. You go ahead and report and, you know, sort it out.
Do you believe that if more women were hired in leadership roles on a film set, if there were more women playing important roles in a film set, that the culture would change? If we saw women as chief AD, if we saw women as directors, women as producers, then there would also be, the culture would change. Also, women who felt uncomfortable would be comfortable enough to find someone to report to. Would you feel that?
So if there are more women on the sets, like director, producer, and ADs and all, whatever they want to do, you will feel little secure. And that person will be more sympathetic towards you.
Right.
Being a woman, you see.
Right.
So that will be there.
You worked in movies recently until a few years ago. You've done the odd role now and then. Do you find that there is a considerable difference in the way that a movie set looks in terms of, do you find a lot more women now in important roles? I mean, we've heard of female cinematographers, of course. There are women as gaffers, cameramen, music directors. Have you seen that? Is there a big change when you look at a movie set today in terms of just the constitution of the crew?
Yeah, earlier there were no, except 2 women for the department. Now the film editors are there, like Bharatiya Nari, she's a film editor.
That's right.
And so many directors, and Farhan Khan, choreographer come director.
True.
And so lots of them. So it's very good change, a healthy change.
True. You know, Vaidaji, the common misconception has always been, a little bit of gossip is not a bad thing, that, actresses don't get along. It's been one of those misconceptions. And I, from my own experience, as a journalist, I've noticed it's more true, if not as true of men. The actors are just as insecure, if not more. They pretend to be friends, but there is a lot of competition and there's a lot of insecurity. What was it like back in the day?
Well, I don't know. Actually, Nanda who's no more, unfortunately. Danda and me became friends.
That's right.
Then Jabin was there, then Shakila was there. Then after I came back from Bangalore, Sadhna, Nanda, Asha Parekh, only last night I met Asha, myself, Helen, Shammi, we all are friends. We don't discuss about our profession or movies, which one are you doing, why didn't I get this role? Because especially Nanda and me believe so much in destiny. Okay, if it is yours, nobody can take it away. Like, so not to discuss, so that kept us happy and
And
friendly.
not competitive.
Yeah.
Sure. Waheeda ji, you chose to play several roles that, in back in the day or in those times were considered quite bold, whether it was the sex worker in Pyasa, but you brought always a lot of dignity to those characters and you were able to make them extremely relatable. You've said about Rosie in Guide that was a character you wanted to play, but a lot of your colleagues actually advised you not to. Was it hard? And I ask you this, having heard what you already spoke about, speaking your mind, was it hard to go with what you believed in and to drown out the surround sound, to drown out the background music, if you like, to surround, everyone's telling you not a good idea, but to stick to what you believe in. Was it hard in those days?
Not really hard, because once, as I told you, make up my mind, I didn't bother what they were saying. So I was convinced. It's because film profession or film characters we play, it's just a character we are playing. We don't bring home and make yourself that person or make yourself, like that. So it didn't bother me. I was very sure I want to do this, and no matter how many people told me, this is a mistake, biggest mistake of your career, you're doing it, don't do it. I said, no, but I liked it because till today, the characters like Rosie will be there, Marco will be there, Raju is there, nothing so, out of the
Ordinary, sure.
thing. So I was very convinced, so I was very happy, I didn't have any problem.
Do you watch a lot of the current movies, Waheeda ji?
Yeah. Badai Ho, Andhadhun, Razi, and lovely movies, beautiful, small movies, but so engaging and interesting, and everybody performs so well these days.
Where do you feel we're heading as far as roles for female actors are concerned? I mean, do you feel like the roles have gotten better? Do you feel like they were better earlier?
Now I think they are better. And also I have noticed the actors, male, female, both, don't hesitate to do any kind of role.
True.
In our time, there used to be, this is a negative role you should not do. This is a vamp's role. Because when I did CID,
that's right.
They said, why did you do this vamp's role? I said, I was a newcomer. I don't know which role to do. I was given a role, so I did it. So, but you don't look like a vamp. Manika, that was director's problem, not mine.
Is there an actress you look at today that reminds you of yourself?
No.
In terms of, how lovely, one of a kind. In terms of her choices, in terms of the film roles, in terms of the talent, the enthusiasm, someone you look at and say, I used to be like that.
No, but I feel the present generation, they are very smart, very intelligent, because they got this training. In our time, there was no Pune Institute, no acting school, nothing. Your own imagination and help from the director, we did it. That's all. But now they are very smart. They know what they are doing and playing different characters.
Right.
That's a very healthy trend has come. Different characters in every movie. They don't look the same. In our times, I would say we had only love stories, a boy and girl. One is rich, one is poor, and there is jhagda, fasad, rona, dhona, and then in the end, happy ending or tragic ending. That's all.
Right.
That is why I liked Rosie's role. It was so different from any of the other movies I did.
It feels like you occasionally you do a movie every now and then. Rakesh Mehra seems to have a lot of influence. He's able to convince you every now and then. You were, of course, in Rang De Basanti. You were in Delhi 6. I thought you were lovely in both those films. I think everyone will agree. Why do you work so infrequently?
I must get at this age something very interesting. Not just because I want to do shooting, I want to be seen. No, it should be convincing, like earlier also. And I want to feel happy doing that, not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Have you seen a film lately and thought I could be in this, I wish they'd come to me with this role?
Like Razi,
Yeah.
Razi, even Andhadhun,
Sure.
all the Badai Ho, everything.
But would you have played that cantankerous old grandmother? You know the part that Surekha Sikri played? Would you have played that?
I think so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Waheeda ji, we have enough time for questions. I'm going to have one last question, then I know that the room wants to ask you questions. You know, one of the most beautiful songs that was picturized on you was, of course, Chaudhary Ka Chand. It's such a beautiful song, and you know, just the manner in which, of course, the suitor is you know, describing the beauty of his, you know, of the woman. There is a delicacy and there's a purity in the manner, you know, in the words and in the manner that he's describing your appearance, your beauty. Do you feel that today there's a much more overt sort of sexual objectification in the way that heroes serenade women? And do you think that that has an impact at all on the way that society, we behave with women in society?
No, it's not very clear what you do.
You know, do you feel that in today's films, that the manner in which men woo women, heroes woo heroines, is much more sexual, much more overt?
Yeah.
And do you feel that that then has any sort of repercussions, or is anyway reflective on the way that in real life men behave with women?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent. In our time, the love used to be more intense without, you know, physically coming close to each other. I remember watching a movie, some other movie, and you know, दूर दूर से प्यार की नज़रों से बात हो रहे, and the audience अरे हाथ तो पकड़ ले यार, कितनी देर क्यों लगा रहा? But these days, 1, 2 scene and you're in a bed.
That's right.
Quickie.
I think we can maybe take a few questions. If someone has, raise your hand. We'll send a mic around. I was told that do we have a mic? I was told we can have a few questions. I think the lady here raised her hand first, if we could.
Thank you. Right, I don't have a question for Waheeda ji, but I actually have an observation on the video that was showed on Waheeda ji. And there were 4 slides that I noticed, and there was only one slide on her performance that she's one of the finest actors in the industry. I was really surprised to see how there was no mention of the number of awards that she has got, how there was no mention that she has got Padma Bhushan Award. And I'm also curious to see when the men, you know, when Mr. Farhan Akhtar, Milind Deora came on the stage, there was no mention in terms of how they look. The mention was Mr. Farhan Akhtar started Mard. And I'm wondering, when you're really having conversations around we need to value women for the work that they do, it's not getting reflected in forums like this where we are hoping to have path-breaking conversations.
You want to respond to that, Waheeda ji?
क्या कहूँ मेरे समझ में?
I think you make a very valid point, but also it's impossible not to talk about how Waheeda ji looks when she lights up the room, you know. I mean, these lights could go off and she has this luminous presence.
She is totally an epitome of grace and dignity, and I'm not taking away from that.
Thank
we are
you.
saying we are having conversations, we need to have conversations around the work that they're doing. That's how they would be valued. Because through these forums where we are in a position of influence, we are also in a position of power, we need to have different kinds of conversations in the spaces.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
I hope some of that was addressed in the conversation. Thank you. We have time for maybe 2 more questions. The gentleman behind her.
I have a question for Waheeda ji, and like it's a very surreal moment for me to seeing someone live who I've always watched on so many films. My question is, since you mentioned so many other films and it's so apparent that you stay updated with the recent films, back in the day you did films like Prem Pujari, Guide, and Sahib Biwi or Gulam, like which brings me to the question that how do you think stories have changed in the representation of women in Bollywood or in the Indian film industry that we've been following? That do they give women that screen time anymore? Do you think it's regressed, it's progressed? What's your observation on that? That hero, heroine का जो बीच में हम लोगों ने भेदभाव कर दिया था, और काफ़ी चीज़ों पे चीज़ें आ जाती है, कहीं ना कहीं स्क्रीन टाइम किसको ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, किसको ज़्यादा गानों के लाइन बोलने को मिल रहे हैं, आपको क्या लगता है कुछ बदला है, कुछ नहीं बदला है? तब ज़माना अच्छा था, फिर अब ज़माना अच्छा है?
मेरे ख्याल से स्टोरी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आजकल का ज़माना अच्छा है. द वैरायटी ऑफ मूवीज़ आर बीइंग मेड, और कोई ज़रूरी नहीं कि बड़े पैमाने पे ही फिल्म बननी चाहिए. छोटी छोटी फिल्में भी बन रही हैं, वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग हैं, एंगेजिंग हैं, ऑडियंस बैठ के देखना चाहती है, वो बात तो ज़रूर है. और रहा स्क्रीन टाइम, आप जो कह रहे हैं ना कि ज़्यादा है कम है, लाइंस गाने की किसके लिए ज़्यादा कम है. द पॉइंट इज़ दैट एज लॉन्ग एज यू impress you by that short scene than a lengthy scene and it's boring. What is the point? You have to leave a mark, even though it is a small role, even though it's 2 lines to sing. But the point is how you did it. How did you perform that small scene or small song? You see, as long as you're able to express yourself, and in that short time, that is much better than a lengthy one, and you say, oh my God, kab khatam hoga ye silsila? You know, that is not the, it has to have an impact.
Thank you. We have time for maybe one more question.
Nobody wants to
The lady in the front row.
Idhar ke idhar?
Namaste, Waheeda ji.
Namaste.
I have seen very few movies of you. मैं ज़्यादा पुरानी movies नहीं देखती हूँ, but I have seen very few. One was that Guide. उसमें आपका एक solo song था, पिया तो से नैना लागे रे.
अच्छा.
That song completely pulled by you only. वो सॉन्ग में योर डांस, योर ग्रेसफुलनेस, एवरीथिंग वाज देयर. बट मेरा सवाल ये है कि हैव यू एवर थॉट इन दोज डेज कि एक विमेन सेंट्रिक मूवी भी होनी चाहिए थी, विच कुड हैव ब्रॉट मोर कैरेक्टर्स विच आर विमेन ड्रिवन?
उस वक्त भी होती थी मगर कम होती थी. फॉर मसलन बंदिनी जिसमें नूतन जी थी, सुजाता और मीना जी की बहुत फिल्में थी, और नरगिस जी की थी मदर इंडिया, और
आपको कभी ऐसा मौका मिले, आपको कभी लगा कि मुझे वो मिलनी चाहिए थी?
हाँ, ये तो सोचा था. जैसे फॉर मसलन मैं हर इंसान हिंदुस्तान में कहते थे मदर इंडिया का रोल मिलना चाहिए था, क्योंकि मैंने आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग कैरेक्टर रोल्स, तो जो भी डायरेक्टर आते थे, वहीदा जी ये तो मदर इंडिया का रोल है, तो मैं कहते नो वेयर नियर मदर इंडिया. क्यों मुझे कन्विंस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं आप?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Waheeda ji. You brought so much joy in our lives through these incredible films, incredible performances. Thank you for your unending grace. What excites you to, as a final thought, as a leaving thought? You had उन्होंने guide mention किया, आज फिर जीने की तमन्ना है. What keeps you going? What keeps you excited, passionate? You're a young person who's just as excited, just as passionate. What keeps you going?
I love life, and I have got a very open mind to learn anything, to do anything. I go on photo safaris and to the Masai Mara, Tanzania, wherever we go, and do learning something or the other. That keeps me alive.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Learning something or the other. Thank you so much.
Don't go, Rajiv. Waheeda ji, I will take just 1 more minute of your time.
अच्छा, माइक रखो नहीं?
नहीं, माइक मत रखिए. 2 मिनट आपसे पूछना चाहूँगी. आज आप जब ये मी टू मूवमेंट देखते हैं, आपने मुझे शुरू में कहा कि तब इश्यूज तो थे लेकिन बोलने की ताकत नहीं थी. आज आप जब देखती हैं कि औरतें खुल के बोलती हैं, डज इट सेटिस्फाई यू? डू यू फील कि काश हमारे वक्त भी ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी होती कि जो चीज़ें इस तरह की होती थी हम भी बोल पाते?
हाँ, नेचुरली ज़रूर होना चाहिए था. मगर क्या हुआ, जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा, मेरे साथ कोई ऐसा हादसा हुआ ही नहीं.
पर आपने देखा होगा बाकियों के साथ?
देखा भी नहीं. हाँ, क्योंकि हम सेट पे बैठे रहते थे लाइक एन ऑफिस, और पैकअप हुआ तो घर चले जाते थे. यूज्ड टू गो टू द मेकअप रूम जस्ट टू चेंज योर कॉस्ट्यूम और चेंज योर हेयर स्टाइल और एनी सच थिंग. मगर मैं सोचूंगी ज़रूर होता था, होगा, ऐसे कहीं नहीं. आदमी आदमी ही है, तो अगर उस वक्त तो मगर उस वक्त उनकी हिम्मत नहीं थी. आई विश दे हैड तो अब तक सुधर जाते थे लोग.
एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन, ये क्या इंडस्ट्री है जहाँ आदमी कभी बूढ़े ही नहीं होते? वो सलमान खान वो उसी उम्र पे वो प्रिटेंड करते हैं कि वो 25 साल की हैं, और लड़कियाँ 25 साल भी. मुझे एकता कपूर ने एक बार ही बोला कि आलिया भट्ट सिर्फ 25 साल की है, बट सून शी विल आल्सो बी कॉल्ड ओल्ड. सो एज एंड जेंडर, somehow women are put on the shelf, so to
Yes, very
speak.
soon,
Yeah.
very soon,
Can you
very
talk a little bit about the age bias against women?
जब 25-30 साल अगर she touched 30th year, कहती यार वो तो बुढ़ी हो गई, आपको नई लड़की लेनी पड़ेगी. I used to feel so bugged. मैंने कहा ऐसे कैसे कह सकते हैं आप? नहीं वहीदा, you don't understand. खासकर देव, तो you don't understand. Public want to see us. मैंने कहा या सी यू एंड सी मी ऑल्सो. तो बोले नहीं, वो क्या होता है ना, आदमी जवान रहता है. किसने कहा आपको कि आदमी जवान रहता है? तो ये बहुत शुरू से प्रॉब्लम है और अभी भी चल रही है. 60 years 52 years आप रोमांटिक हीरो बन रहे हैं, और लड़की 20 साल की 25 साल की जी, उसके बाद बोले बस काफ़ी हो गया. और वो सोचते हैं हम जितनी छोटी लड़कियों के साथ कम करेंगे हम उतने छोटे लगेंगे हम खुद. ऐसे उनके दिमाग में है.
एक इनसिक्योरिटी रहती है,
Yeah.
मेल इनसिक्योरिटी.
Yeah,
वहीदा जी, योर मैसेज टू यंग एक्टर्स एवरीवेयर, women and men and young girls in this audience.
ओनली फॉर एक्टर्स और एवरीबॉडी. बस दम लगा के हैया कीजिए. हर प्रोफेशन में जाइए और डरिए नहीं, बिल्कुल मत डरिएगा. कोई भी सिचुएशन में आप हिम्मत रखिए और फ़ौरन रिपोर्ट कीजिए. सही बात होनी चाहिए. जब आदमी सच बोलता है तो ही इज़ मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर देन यू आर फेकिंग. यू आर नॉट स्ट्रॉन्ग. You have to be very truthful to yourself first and then to the others. Then you're much stronger. You can fight it back.
Now it is my great honor to present and honor Waheeda ji. But before I do that, I'd like Anki Das and Shelly Thakral of Facebook to please join us on stage, and Shweta Verma of PwC. These are our main partners. They make this event possible. Like we've been saying all morning, this event is open to all for free. And therefore, it would not be possible to do what we do without our two major partners. Facebook has been a presenting sponsor. PwC is one of our main supporting sponsors. This is a Lifetime Achievement Award for Waheeda Rehman. Can we please have the awards on stage and a standing ovation? I don't even think I have to ask for it. Let's put our hands together for the wonderful, wonderful Waheeda ji. Can we come in the front, please? Rajiv, come. Rajiv, join us. Please. And can we let her know through our applause that you didn't just come to watch Dev Anand, you came to watch the work of the powerhouse that is Waheeda Rehman. Louder, come on, we can do better than that.